Hi everyone, this is Kasturi. So the next comes is the categories of cost in product design and development. So cost management is essential for ensuring the financial viability of a product from initial concept through to market launch. Understanding the different categories of cost in product development helps businesses allocate resources efficiently, plan budgets, and optimize their processes for profitability. So below are the primary categories of cost involved in product design and development. So the first one is the direct cost. So direct costs are expenses that can be directly attributed to the production. For example, material cost. So material cost divided into three costs. First one is the raw materials. So the primary components are substances used to create the product. Purchased parts. Components like electronics, motors are pre-assembled parts that are incorporated into the final product. Third one is the packaging materials. So cost related to materials used for packaging. Is the labor cost. So labor cost, it is divided into production labor. So the wages and benefits for employees directly involved in manufacturing the product, and design and development labor. So costs associated with the engineering teams and designers involved in the initial design, prototyping and testing phases. Next one is production cost. So machine time. The cost incurred by operating machines or equipment used in the manufacturing process. Next one is the assembly cost. So labor and machine cost related to assembling the parts of the product to its final form. So the next comes is the indirect cost. So indirect costs are expenses that cannot be directly traced to a specific product but are necessary for overall production and business operations. So first one is the overhead cost. Factory overhead. General expenses related to running the production facility. Administrative overhead. Cost of administrative activities that support the product development such as office supplies, software and management salaries. Next one is the depreciation. The reduction in value of equipment, machinery and other assets used during the production process. Research and development cost. So initial design and conceptualization. So these involves the costs related to brainstorming, idea generation and the early stages of design development. Testing and testing and prototyping involves expenses related to building and testing prototypes, which may involve specialized materials, facilities, or labor cost. Innovation and engineering. Salaries and materials for the engineering team are responsible for refining the product, solving technical challenges, and ensuring manufacturability. The third one is the variable cost. So variable costs are nothing but change in direct proportion to the volume of a product or output. It depends on the material usage. Where it is divided into direct materials. So the cost of materials consumed in production which increases as more units as they produced. Next one is the labor cost. Hourly labor. So labor expenses for workers who are paid based on the number of units they produce. Shipping and distribution. So freight cost. Shipping expenses that vary with the number of units produced, and in warehousing, variable cost of storing products in warehouses. Next one is the fixed cost. So fixed costs remain constant regardless of the level of production or sales. Capital expenditure. Factory equipment and machinery. The cost of purchasing equipment, machinery or tools used for production. Buildings and facilities. Expenses related to the construction or rental of facilities used for manufacturing and storage. Next one is the salaries and wages of permanent employees. So designers, engineers and managers, salaries of permanent employees including those in R&D, marketing and administrative roles which are not affected by production volume. Next one is the licensing fees and patents. So it involves intellectual property cost and regulatory certification cost. In intellectual property cost, if the product development involves licensing external technologies or patents or other intellectual properties, these costs are typically fixed. Next one is the regulatory certification cost. So fees related to obtaining certifications such as UL or your CE marks, which are required for certain products to be sold in specific regions. Next one is the semi-variable cost. So semi-variable cost have both fixed and variable components. So first one is the maintenance cost. So there are two type of maintenance costs. First one is the fixed component. So regular maintenance activities that are needed periodically to keep machinery and equipment functioning. Next one is the variable component. As production increases, more frequent or intensive maintenance may be required to keep the equipment operational. So next one is the utilities. So it is divided into two parts. First one is the base utility cost. So a baseline charge for utilities, for example, electricity, water, that is paid regardless of production levels. Next one is the increased utility consumption. As production volume increases, the use of utilities such as electricity or gas increases, leading to higher cost. So next one is the capital and financing cost. So capital and financing cost involve expenses related to funding the development of production of a product. It is divided into interest and loans and investment and equity cost, marketing and sales cost. So these costs are associated with the promotion, advertising and distribution of the product. Again, it is subdivided into advertising and promotion. Next one is the sales and distribution expenses. Next one is production cost. So post-production costs are incurred after the product has been manufactured and distributed. So it contains the warranty and service cost, repairs and replacements. If the product has warranties, the company may incur costs for repairing and replacing the defective units. Customer support, so help desk and call centers, like and end of life disposal, product disposal, recycling the product. Okay. So in a conclusion, understanding the different categories of cost involved in product development is essential for effective cost management and decision making. By systematically evaluating the cost at every stage from design through to post-production, businesses can optimize their operations, minimize unnecessary expenses and improve overall financial performance. So we have taken an example of manufacturing a new smartwatch. So in direct cost perspective, buying screens, batteries, and paying workers to assemble the smartphones. In indirect cost, we are considering spending on office rent, R&D, team salaries, and electricity. In fixed cost point of view, paying for machinery and permanent employee salaries. In marketing and sales cost point of view, spending money on TV ads, social media promotions and sales teams are falls into in this category. Thank you.